Good morning and welcome to everybody. My name is Sue Linning. After retiring from SAIA in 2013, I returned to SAIA on a part-time basis in 2017 and have been responsible for the management and coordination of the work of the Practice Committee of the Institute ever since. It is today my honor and pleasure to introduce you to Simmy Peerutin, the chair of SAIA's Practice Committee until 2020. Simmy graduated from the University of Cape Town in 1982, and after a 10-year stint in the UK, he returned to Cape Town in 95. In 97, he formed Peerutin with his brother David. The practice now is practicing as Peerutin Carroll. Simmy has a passion for management and programming of information and spearheads the overall strategy of the architectural practice. In 2010, Simmy was elected Vice President of the Cape Institute for Architecture, and in 2013, he served as President. He was the chair of the SAIA Practice Committee until 2020 and also serves as SACAP's Professional Fees Committee. Simmy is the passionate initiator, the next slide, of SAIA's annual benchmarking and fees surveys, which have taken place over the past 3 years. With the approval of SAIA's board, these reports had been made available to SACAP and were referenced in SACAP's interaction with Parliament and with the Competition Commission, which culminated in the publication of the 2020 Guideline Professional Fees. At the end of 2020, SACAP decided that the fees survey should be extended to include all architectural practices, and a small task team was established by the SACAP Fees Committee, on which he and I both serve. The joint SACAP VA Professional Fees Survey was launched by SACAP in March. Click to the next one, please, Verena. As with the SAIA surveys, there is a certain reluctance from practices to participate in the survey, and therefore, after the deadline was extended to Monday, 10 May, Simmy agreed to lead the discussion this morning. And so, Simmy, over to you. I hope you will be able to convince many, many more people to chat.
Morning, everybody. Thanks, Sue, for that introduction. I think it's important to stress that the original survey was launched by SAIA and based on the Royal Institute of British Architects model in order to improve business practice in amongst South African architectural practices. And that is why the survey was called a benchmark survey, because it enables practices to benchmark themselves against the averages amongst our peers. And the survey has been running for 3 years, which enabled us to see some trends in relation to various business practices. Last year, the SACAP Fees Committee requested the use of the fee survey to establish a data point for the fees that are supposed to be published annually. Previously, the last time data was assembled on fees were literally lost in the mists of time. And this was the first attempt to extract information from the data available, and SAIA kindly made that data available. The SACAP Fees Committee appointed a professional who crunched the data and used various key indicators from the survey, and those indicators tell us why the current SACAP survey requests certain other business information. And the reason for that is because looking at fees coldly, you can't establish whether those fees are adequate to produce firstly a decent service, and secondly, for the sustainability of the profession. And what was established when you look at the fees charged through the survey that was revealed by the survey against the various benchmarks, you will see that architectural practices are and were suffering For example, the metrics used for the to compare fees versus business practice were the following. Clearly, profit, and the survey reveals low profitability amongst architectural practices. The second was salaries, and it's no secret that certainly in the lower and new professionals are paid fairly poorly relative to other professions. Another one was information technology, and the spend on computer software and hardware was exceptionally low, meaning that many practices haven't taken advantage of the technology available, or are in fact using illicit software. The next one was training. Training budgets are, training spend is exceptionally low as well, indicating that there isn't enough money and therefore the profession isn't taking full advantage of training opportunities. And finally, marketing. Marketing is also a low spend, but it is important to get one's message out. So I think that those were the key metrics. And in fact, SACAP, the current SACAP survey are going to use the same metrics, and that is important. It's important not only for SACAP to base their annual guideline fees on proper data, but also because the Competition Commission is insisting on the guideline fees being based on proper data. I think that's enough for me as an introduction. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Simmy, why should anybody, this is Sue Linning asking, why should anybody trust that the information they provide, because a lot of this is very sensitive and confidential, that it will not be used for nefarious purposes?
Okay. Well, firstly, as with the SAIA survey, the information is not transmitted to SAIA. It was not transmitted to SAIA historically, and is not transmitted to SACAP at all. The information is gathered by a market research company that subscribes to the Market Research Code of Conduct. The information is captured anonymously and is aggregated by that company and handed in its aggregated form to SACAP or to SAIA. There is no way of correlating individuals' financial information by anybody, certainly not anybody at SAIA or at SACAP. It is handled at third-party distance, and it has been the same person over the last 4 years. And we haven't had a single instance of any suspicion of any data that has been transmitted since that.
Then just to confirm once more, because this survey and the data that will be collected is so extremely important, SACAP has agreed to extend the deadline to Monday, 10 May, 12 midnight. And Tsabe Shongwe, the Vice President of SACAP, who leads this small task team and also is the chair of the SACAP Fees Committee, is committed to having it open until we have adequate data. But that is a deadline for all of us.